And I'll check right now.
All right. Hello, everybody.
I still got the same thing, 2.5 out of 3.
So we're gonna. I was just telling a couple of the other students, for those of you that just showed up, today's gonna kind of be just a catch-up day. Your essays due on Friday, so I didn't want to assign any new readings or new assignments because I didn't want to overwhelm you. I wanted to give you guys the week to kind of focus on the perspective playlist. So I just have like one paragraph from the Myth of Sisyphus I want to talk to you guys about, and then we're gonna go maybe around, not the room, but like go around the Zoom meeting and see like maybe you guys can give me one song that you've picked for your playlist so far. If you have any questions about the playlist or you want me to look at any writing, I can do that today. So let me give you the
Let me ask you this. Do you have like a Google Docs, like account, like a Google account? So say if we want to share with you an essay, could we do that?
Yeah,
And you can,
it's let me give you the email right now. That's a great question.
yeah, I mean, because I hate using Word. Word sucks.
Yeah, that's my I just put the email in the chat. It's
Yeah, so I could
it's
share with you an essay.
absolutely. Yeah, that's good. If you guys want to share with me in the Docs app, that gives me a chance to actually edit and comment for you guys.
Mm-hmm. So it's like you do an intro, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion.
You don't even need the conclusion. You just need the intros and the body paragraphs. That's it.
So just 4 paragraphs.
Yes. All right. So if you don't have the Myth of Sisyphus essay, let me link you to it.
Oh, I'm just gonna go with something really quickly.
1 second, guys. All right. Here's the link. And I want us to look at specifically this kind of last section right here. I'm going to put the whole thing into the chat as well. So just take us. Oh, it won't work. Hold on. All right, let's open up the chat or the link because it's not letting me copy and paste the reading. I think it might be too many words or it might be too big. So click that link. And then I kind of want us to focus specifically on the end where it says, you know what, I got an idea. Let me get creative. Okay, so who can kind of recap for me what's going on with Sisyphus? What's his punishment? Who remembers the punishment?
It was he had to like push this giant boulder up a rock, up a mountain, and every time you get to the top, it would fall down.
Yeah, and how long does he have to do it for? Like, what's his prison sentence?
Eternity.
Eternity, right? That's a fancy way of saying forever. So he's got to push this rock or a big boulder up a mountain. It goes back down again. He's got to walk back down the mountain, and then he's got to push it back up again, right? And Albert Camus called this futile labor, right? Anybody remember what that word futile means?
Like, isn't it like a synonym? Like, can a synonym for be like brutal?
Yeah, it's definitely brutal. It just means kind of pointless, right? And I think I mentioned this in our last discussion, right? This is a very human thing that we can definitely relate to, because what is worse than doing work that you don't get any reward for, that is completely pointless,
Pretty much nothing.
right? Like, isn't that what's more frustrating than that as a human being? Imagine if you went to work, you worked for a month and got no paycheck, right? Imagine if you worked for a whole semester, you got no grades, or nothing for the work, and the teacher just goes, "Oh well, I just felt like giving you the work." Right? Like that's horrible. Right? I would say it's like one of the most horrible things a human can do is being forced to work for no reason. Right? So remember that Sisyphus is kind of a stand-in for all humans, right? He represents all of us. Because what is the futile labor that we all have to do and we don't get paid for? Do you guys remember? We talked about it.
Was it living?
It's living, right? Yeah. It's capital L life. What's the reward for all the hard work we do for 80 years?
Nothing. Death.
Death, maybe some good memories,
Yeah.
some grandchildren. If you're lucky, maybe you accumulate wealth, but you don't take it with you into the underworld or the afterlife, right? So this is like a real human problem, right? So the question for us is how do we make meaning or value in a valueless world, right? That's kind of the question that we have to face, right? Especially if you're not a religious or a spiritual person. Well, Camus gives us kind of something to think about. So he says, when Sisyphus goes back down and starts to walk towards the rock, it's when he becomes interesting. So he says that. It is during the return that Sisyphus interests me. He says, a face that toils so close to stones is already stone itself. Right? So let's just think about it. How do you think you would feel if you were Sisyphus when you're going back down the mountain? Like, what do you think your attitude or your mood or your perspective is?
Definitely be
Like
killed.
pissed off. I don't want to do this. I
Pissed
don't want to do
off,
this.
fuck this rock,
Yeah, I don't want to do this
fuck the
shit.
mountain,
Basically.
fuck the gods, this whole thing sucks, life's not fair, right? And these are completely human thoughts to have. This is what Camus says, right? And then he says that hour, like a breathing space, which returns as surely as his suffering, right? He says that moment when Sisyphus is walking down, when he's not working, that is the moment of consciousness, right? And that's an interesting moment because it can go either way, right? Even if 99.9% of the time you are angry, there's a 0.1% chance that you can also be happy. And maybe you've also felt like this. Maybe some of you have put in like really hard work. It was completely miserable for 99.9% of the time, but there's that 1% or a 0.1% moment where you feel good, even if it's just not thinking about the hard work. If your mind is able to kind of drift and daydream, or if you can look at the sunset and appreciate the sunset or the view from the mountain, right? Because what Camus is basically saying is that 1% or that 0.1% is enough that's worth fighting for. That's a fighting chance for being happy in life, even if it's a 0.1% chance, right? Because how would you guys define consciousness? It's a tricky one. If we think about consciousness in relationship to the 4 readings or however many readings we've had this semester, it's really about choice, right? And it's also about paying attention, right? And more importantly, it's about if you're really conscious, you have the ability to choose what to pay attention to, right? So then rather than getting immediately caught up in your anger and your misery, you have enough consciousness to actually direct your attention elsewhere, right? And that's why that's the most important moment for Sisyphus from Albert Camus' perspective, right? Because that moment when you're not pushing the rock is the moment where you have to reflect, whether it's on old memories, whether it's on just a feeling of like not having the work for a minute, or like we said, whether it's looking at the sky or the sunset or whatever it is, that moment of consciousness gives you the ability to choose. And even if it's for a small moment, it can be repeated over and over again. Right? Because look how he ends it. He says, here, let me copy and paste this. And I love this part. He says right here, if the descent is thus sometimes performed in sorrow, it can also take place in joy. Right? This word is not too much. Again, I fancy Sisyphus returning toward his rock, and the sorrow was only in the beginning. Right? And then he goes on to say, when the images of earth, here, let me give you guys this. Because I love this last line, and then we'll talk about it. He says, when the images of earth cling too tightly to memory, when the call of happiness becomes too insistent, it happens that melancholy arises in our hearts, right? He says, this is the rock's victory. This is the rock itself, right? The boundless grief is too heavy to bear. These are our nights of Gethsemane, but crushing truths perish from being acknowledged. And that's what I want to talk about, that last sentence. What does that mean? Crushing truths perish from being acknowledged. I love that.
I guess like you get like really like bad news that like it pretty much like kills you from like realizing to like when you come to like realization about something.
That's partly true, right? But he's actually saying kind of the opposite, right? He's saying big truths that are crushing, right? Like you're going to die, or that your work is pointless. How do you deal with those? You deal with them from acknowledging them, right? Yes, I'm going to die. Yes, there might not be a heaven. Yes, God might not even exist. But the more I acknowledge that, the less I pretend otherwise. And the less I pretend otherwise, the more I could actually work within the framework of what it means to be immortal, right? To be mortal or to die one day, right? That means I have a limited amount of time. Within that limited amount of time, I'm gonna make the most out of my situation, right? Because remember, there's this concept in Stoicism called amor fati, which is loving your fate, right? Not complaining, not wishing otherwise, but acknowledging that this is what it is, and I'm going to make the best out of it regardless, right? That is kind of the beautiful thing of consciousness, is that we have the ability to choose. It's not an easy choice, right? Because there's nothing easier than being in a bad mood, right? It's hard work, but it's possible. And I just love that last line, right? The more you acknowledge the truths of even hard truths or the hardest truths, the more you acknowledge the things that you're afraid of. And now we actually know this through experiments done in psychology, right? How do we deal with fears and phobias? Doctors, little by little, put you in the middle of that fear, right? So if you're afraid of cats, or if you're afraid of spiders, they'll show you pictures of spiders little by little, right? So how do you deal with fear? You embrace the fear. What you don't do is pretend like it doesn't exist, because that's how you turn a mouse into a monster, right? That's how you turn a little fear into a crippling fear, by pretending that it's not real. All right. So let's talk about this perspective playlist. How's everybody doing on it?
No, I haven't started mine yet, but I'm still looking for songs. I'm
You
almost
have
done
some
though.
songs in mind? Have you started keeping a list or not yet?
Oh yeah, no, I have.
Yeah. Rami, where you at?
I have them. I have them like it's like I feel like I put the songs in my head that I listen to, and like the like when I listen to something, it's got to have a meaning to me. It's like if I don't understand it, it doesn't really click with me.
Does everybody have at least one song that they've chosen or that they're thinking
I
about?
have three.
You have three? Okay. Jay,
I ended up making a list.
did you? Okay. How about everyone just type in one song in the chat box that you're thinking about writing about. Even if you're not sold yet, just give me one song. Let's see what we got. Can't wait to criticize your guys' tastes in music. Rami, give me the name of the band or the singer or whoever.
It's okay. All right.
Some to Prove by Lil Baby. You know, I was always curious, how long can a rapper claim the Lil title? Does it end at 35, 38, 40?
I wish I knew.
Because Lil Wayne's not Lil Wayne anymore. He's just Wheezy, isn't he?
I think so.
One Love by Bob Marley. Great.
Did you ever watch the movie Logan?
I did not. Wait, so Rami, it's Way Down We Go by Kaleo.
Yeah. You
Okay.
never heard it?
No. Are you
Good
surprised?
song. It's pretty good. I thought you were like a Marvel fan or something like that, comic book fan.
Die for Me by Post Malone. That's an interesting one. Weddy, Fivio Foreign. Jay's laughing. Where's My Love by, how do you say that? Simil? Am I saying that right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know how to say it myself. So.
Maybe it's an acronym, SYML. Down the Line, Beach Fossils. That sounds very chill. To Be So Lonely, Harry Styles. All right, all right. I think we got everybody, right? Miranda, did you post?
No, I don't. I can't think of anything.
You can't think?
Yeah, me neither. I'm so picky that I don't want to just put anything down.
Do you guys have Spotify?
Yeah.
Do you both have you ever used, they do something called Discover Weekly, where they like give you every week, they give you a playlist based on your based on like what you listen to.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about.
It's like an interesting way to look at the way that Spotify sees you.
Yeah.
You could even like go and pick a song from there if you're having a hard time, because sometimes they know you better than you know yourself.
Yeah, I use Apple Music more, but I do have Spotify.
Okay. Wait, and Apple doesn't do something like that, right?
It's just like you just pick whatever
Yeah.
you want.
All right. Has anybody started writing yet?
I have
No.
I have a
No?
question about that actually.
Yeah, let's talk about questions.
What about how should we like write the intro paragraph for that?
What I like to do is I kind of like that like triangle method of like starting, or like the upside down triangle. I start general and I move into the specific, right? So you can start the intro. We'll think about what we're talking about. We're talking about perspective, mood, and music, right? So you can talk about that, like, just the relationship between personality and the type of music we listen to. and then you can kind of slowly go into like more specifics on how it relates to you and your specific tastes.
Okay,
That
thanks.
would be like my general advice.
All right, got it. Thank you.
Does anybody have any other questions about it?
I'm just gonna say, like, first sentence. Can I start off with like a quote about why music's so good? Like, why is it nice to listen to music?
I'd rather you make up the quote rather than use somebody else's quote.
But it's cool if we do that.
I mean, I don't look. There's teachers that like are completely opposed to it. I think it's kind of lazy because you're letting somebody else speak for yourself, no matter how genius it might be. So one thing I like to do, and this is the secret to really good writing, you just steal. You put really great ideas into your own words. Right? That's what every great artist does. They just steal and they reinterpret it. So maybe like think about what the quote is and then just try to say it in your own Rami way.
Okay.
If
Hold
you
on 1 second.
absolutely can't, I'll take the quote. I'm just going to think less of you.
Is there a right or wrong?
I'm just kidding.
Is there a right or wrong way of how we think the quote means?
Is there what?
I said, is there a right or wrong way that, like, from what we think the quote means?
What do you mean? Explain that a little more.
So let's say I write a quote and then I think of it in like a certain way and someone else thinks of it a certain way. Like, is one right or like, I'm saying like, is there a right or wrong way of writing something in this essay?
Yeah, I mean, you can completely misinterpret a quote, that's for sure. But I mean, I'm not asking you to answer a specific right or wrong question in the context of the essay. So I'm really asking your opinion and how you feel about these songs. No, I'm not gonna like. I'm not gonna. You mean like when you quote the lyrics?
Yeah.
No, like I'm not gonna go look up like what some critic says that disagrees with you. I want your perspective. Yeah, because essentially what you guys are doing is you're kind of interpreting poetry, right?
It's
So
basically like an opinion essay, basically about what
be
we
entirely
believe this
subjective.
song gives us.
What if your
Yeah.
song doesn't have words?
What if your song doesn't have words?
Yeah.
Ooh, that puts you in an interesting position, right? Because part of it is like quoting from the lyrics. I guess what you can do is someone could start by muting that other teacher. Are you choosing all classical songs, Max?
No, I got Weddy by Fabio Foreign, but one of my other ones probably gonna be a classical song.
Is it the WC Claire de Lune?
Yeah.
I think that one's interesting. Here, let me just pull up the title. That's a good question. Okay, so yeah, I wanted to look up what that word. So the song, the title means light of the moon. So what you can do there, Max, is you can talk about how the title might relate to the actual song since there are no lyrics for you to interpret. Okay. And that's not an easy task at all, but I think that's probably the best you could do. That's actually would be interesting to read.
Okay.
Is anybody else choosing any classical? Or maybe techno? I guess that's also.
I'm doing a jazz song too, and that doesn't have words in it either.
What jazz song are you doing?
Blue and Green.
Ooh, that's one of my favorites. Again, you can talk about the title.
Okay.
That's actually, I think, my favorite jazz song ever.
Yeah, me too.
The beginning of that song kind of takes my breath away.
Yeah.
Yeah. It gives me goosebumps every time I listen to it. Yeah, so that's just kind of words of wisdom for anyone that's doing a classical or music without lyrics. Just try to focus on the title. And if the title is minor chord in B or something like that, then that's doubly hard. I don't know what we're gonna do.
So I have a question for the lyric. Did we have to just choose one sentence, or we can choose multiple sentence?
It could be longer. Yeah, you could do like a whole bar, like a couple of you could do like 3 lines or 4 lines.
Okay, thank you.
It could be long or long as short as you want. So I guess if you're gonna do something without lyrics, and if it doesn't have a title, or if the title is not something you can interpret, right? Then what you can do is just solely focus on like the feelings that you get, and trying to describe them as much as possible in your own words. Any other questions? How about, since nobody has started for the most part, I give you guys until Monday. Miranda likes that.
I'm
Wait,
fine with
Go
that.
for it.
What was that?
That would be nice.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
There's not enough nice people in the world, so let's do that.
Awesome. Sounds
All right,
good.
so I'll
Thank
change the
you.
date. I'll
Thank you.
change it on Blackboard. So you guys have until Monday. I'm not sure what is that, the 10th?
I think it is.
Okay. And if you want to send me, if you want to take that Gmail account I put on the top of the chat and
I
send,
think it's the 12th.
The 12th, yeah.
yeah, I'm way off. Yeah, okay. Monday's the 12th. That should be more than enough time.
You're probably gonna get hammered with essays on the weekend.
Yeah.
That's all right. I don't even look at them until Monday.
Oh man. Well, the compare contrast essay with Buddhism went well. I got like 654 words out of it.
Good for you, man. Does
Yeah.
anyone have any other questions?
I think we're good. I just you'll update on Blackboard, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna update. I just made a note for you, for Rami, and for Naomi. Again, if you guys have stuff that I haven't graded yet, I'm working on it. Just give me some extra time. I should be done by Friday, grading everything that you guys have handed in thus far.
I was asking about this assignment.
Yeah, I'm gonna change the date to the 12th right now.
I got you. All right. Thank you.
And then again, if you want to send me any bits of writing, whether it's one sentence or a paragraph, however much writing you want, you can send me on Google in the documents, or you can email it to me, and then I can give you guys comments. We can go back and forth, whatever you
And
want.
you're not gonna be picky about words, basically, right?
Oh,
Like
I am
how many
thinking about
words? I mean, like how many words there is in the essay.
Oh no, not word count, but word choice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think we could end a little early today. What do you think?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love seeing smiles on your guys' faces. This is excellent. All right. So if anybody has any questions, just email me. You can send me some writing. Daniel, I got you. I'm going to change the date. I'm going to update your grades right now. And
Appreciate it. Thank you.
yeah, I'll
And
see
me
you.
too.
All right, everybody take care.
All right,
All right.
take care.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
Bye.
You too.
Bye.